attached so that I could kind of get a better idea of how it was constructed. Yeah, I mean, and the whole sleeve is here, and all evidence points to it originally being attached, but I don't have to feel guilty about removing it because I'm not the one who did it.
Yeah.
So that's been really interesting to be able to learn more about it through this way, because to some collectors this would devalue the piece,
Right.
but to me it makes it more valuable.
So do you do that often, where if you get a piece, you sort of study how it's made in the interior, and that gives you information on, I guess, like the date and all that?
For sure, that's a large part of what I do with my collecting nowadays, is learning about construction, for sure. And that's why a lot of the pieces in my collection, not so sure about these ones, but I have a lot of really like damaged pieces. So there might be things like exposed linings already, for example. So I'm able to get a closer look
And just see. So I guess you get a lot of information being able to, because is the sleeve there?
Yeah.
It's already cut out in the shape that would have needed to be cut and everything?
Yeah, and it's humongous, like it's ridiculous. Let's,
Yeah.
like, oh, I want to be really careful with this. But it's like,
Oh.
this is,
Wow.
this is the sleeve.
Oh my gosh.
And there's, oh look, there's more.
Yeah.
So, and all of that would be gathered.
And I guess that's where you get sort of like the pleating. 'Cause there's a lot of
Yeah.
pleating happening sort of along there.
Yeah, there's a lot of like really intense pleating. And you actually see right here, I don't know if you can see it at home, folks, but there's some gathering here that I believe it was done a bit later to try to keep this garment fashionable into, you know, to continue to be fashionable after years after its initial construction.
So do you notice that a lot, where you'll have original pieces and then people have altered so that it looks modern for its time, even though it's older?
For sure. That's something that I really enjoy seeing. It's kind of funny because it can make dating things harder, because you make assumptions based on the style, which is why it's important it's important to also study the textiles, right? So that all the different elements, so that you can kind of piece together, if you don't have a provenance, what the story is.
Interesting. And is this the piece that came from Europe, or is this?
No, I purchased this from a collector in the States.
Oh, okay. And they just had the sleeve together, and yeah.
Yeah, it was just the way it was, and they didn't have a big story.
Okay. Well, at least you're able to sort of pick apart and know that was the sleeve and sort of put that all together. Very neat. So what's the next piece you've got here?
Well, the next piece is it's a bodice from kind of the same time period. This is poofy, but there's nothing building it up in there, unfortunately. So this is the piece that I got in France.
Yeah, the pattern is very lovely. It's a very delicate pattern. Is that cotton?
This piece is cotton. And unfortunately it looks like someone tried to wash it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try to wash a garment of this age, just either don't do it or contact a professional.
Right.
Because it's become very fragile.
So even though it's cotton, it would still, it's sort of could easily, yeah, because I guess that's staining. That didn't go well.
Yeah, I think they wanted to try to get rid of that, but what they've done is just sort of, I don't know, made it a more fragile piece than it was initially.
So there's all kinds of, so this, it also seems very small, like all of these seem quite petite. Is that?
Well, I think that might be an illusion because of the shape. This bodice beneath, the circumference of the high waist, I believe, is 28 inches.
Oh, okay.
So it's not terribly small. This one is very small.
Is this, would an adult have worn this smaller one, or?
Perhaps, or just a young woman.
Okay. And there's, yeah, all kind of, like the details, these little capped things. Are details like this, are they hard to do or sew? Would this have been something that someone at home would have made, or?
I think to have made this at home, you would have had to be tremendously skilled.
Right.
Again, I don't really have a story or provenance for this piece, so I can't tell you much there. But it is completely hand sewn because conventional sewing machines didn't exist, not even for